All right, so we are literally outside of the St. Louis Regional. Tam Cardwell on Fun Stuff, super streamer, just got top 16 with his Jester deck. Just got a new shiny Jester, and I want to see more about your thoughts on the deck. I know we talked about it a bunch on stream so far, but
yeah,
like a Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile, I want to see like what your thoughts are, break down your ratios, talk more about the event for you.
Yeah, it makes sense. We'll start off with the event itself. The event was pretty good. I didn't have an easy day, but I certainly didn't have a hard day. Ended X2 making 9th in the event. Had some hard matchups. My 2 losses were to Barlow and Jake Johnson. And it was on Amajiki and Rodan, like 2 7-hand size characters.
Right.
But yeah, we got Jester. We'll just jump into it. We'll just jump in. All right, so Jester is like the pitch for the deck is I want to be able to on offense find a kill turn and on defense find perfect defense. So it's really much a classic Tam Cardwell. If I can just kind of outthink you, I'll have the card advantage to do the thing that I want. Speaking of Yu-Gi-Oh decks, this is just I tutor my answers from the discard pile of the deck. Yeah. And so Jester is incredible with that. The downside is that you gift them a momentum, and so if you fight decks that have momentum outs, then the deck it's pretty tough. The main kill condition of the deck is just Storm of Arrows. You play Storm of Arrows, and I'll explain the loop. So I play Storm of Arrows. I've got infinite momentum. I'll use Jester to pick up a Storm of Arrows. I'll play Storm of Arrows. I'll use Jester to pick up the 3rd one. I respond with the Echo on this Storm of Arrows, spending this momentum. And then this Echo says that you may replay it. You'll just choose not to and play this copy. And so since you didn't play it, it won't flip afterwards. And so as you're resolving this one, you'll spend a momentum to pick this one up and then Echo. And so this is the loop over and over again. And so you're just sending a bunch of 4 high for 5s, maybe a little bit more. But there are some games, in an 8 game today, I had 9 momentum going into it, which means this is 10 4 high for 5s that I get to sling, which is incredible. It also is a 2 mid block, which I just get to pick up for free if you're playing scary mid attacks. The next attack is just Flaming Arrow. Flaming Arrow is a 4 diff 3 mid or 5 mid for 3 with powerful 3. Sometimes it can win you the game, but normally Storm of Arrows loop is the key. So when they're planning for this, you kill them with this. It's also an incredible 1 high, and it's ranged weapon to kick with Storm of Arrows. 9 times out of 10, you actually should start with a Flaming Arrow to see if they have any interaction before you pick up Storm of Arrows and go off. It's just so that you, it's a poke, and it could turn into more. You're not unsure.
Yeah, and your kill cards being all spells just means that you get to suss out anything at any point in time on the turn.
100%. The next spell is just 4 Targeting Blast. This used to be a 3 of in the deck, and then Chaos Lows become crazy, and so I have to have the only low block spell to go and pick up. If I felt safe, this would be an attack to cut. If the format changes and Chaos Lows aren't so prevalent anymore, I could see cutting it, but at the moment you have to have it. It truly is like the biggest. It's a poke again, 5 speed move, right? 5 speed, 5 speed, and so it's pretty easy to tell when you're just poking and not going for it, especially because this one doesn't have the 2 keywords you need for the storm loop to happen. Randomly has powerful 2 as well. Didn't gotcha anybody today, but it can if needed. Now on to the non-spell attacks. We've got 4 Instant Shiny Flash. This card came back into the format and was perfect for the deck. So Jester gives momentum, this steals it back, and so I didn't actually give you hey, I tricked you. This is also a ranged weapon that gives minus difficulty so that my Storm of Arrows is not on a 6, it's on a 5, and then this one can be spent. It's kind of like the opposite version of what Flaming Arrows does. It's also an incredible on-block trick. I'll use Jester on their turn, give them a momentum, and then block with Instant Shiny Flash before they can spend it. So it's like, I just got the free momentum.
Right.
It's very strong. Next, we've got the tech attacks. We've got double Dragon Strike. Stealing 2 momentum at Deadlock says that's 10 extra damage here. It's also a random random EX and powerful move. And so I'll build up a bunch of stuff. They're expecting Storm of Arrows, and I just go, hey, this one's 10 for 10. And they go, oh, I guess I can't block that. And it also, more importantly, is response, seal it, flip one of their problem cards. There's not a ton of interaction that the life symbol has that I'm allowed to play. There are some pieces, but it just messes with the block zones. Like, you'll see no Lost in Thoughts in this deck. So this is my board interaction. Up next, and then our last attack is just Jawjammer. The idea of this is just guaranteed momentum, and it wears Wound Restore, which we're going to see here really, really well. And so seeing just an accidental 8 damage throw sometimes, it helps get me out of deadlock, it lets me recycle my face downs, and it's a momentum on turn 2, right? And they don't want to use their removal hate for it because they have to save it for a storm. Things like what's the dimensional sphere?
D-sphere,
right?
yeah.
They don't want to D-sphere this because they have to D-sphere arrows. On the actions, we've got 4 Wound Restore. This is just a tricky card, Teehee, because it just messes with math. Either I'm a 51 health character when I use it just as the restore, or like I said, Jawjammers can accidentally clutch out games. This card beats like Airy. This card beats like so much stuff. Of just like, hey, you didn't see the accidental +4. It's like it's almost like giving something +8 damage if they partial blocked, which feels really good.
It's also randomly kind of important into Ghidorah specifically, because if you kill a head and then burn them for 5, you're halfway through the other one.
Correct.
So
yeah, it feels good. It feels good. On the assets, one Airy, my character has a commit cost, and so she breaks it up, or she replenishes it, as well as spend a momentum, don't die 1 turn, and plus Wound Restore means that I don't have 51. I've actually got like 60 sometimes, and so that's incredible. Next, we've got Item Box. Turning things to different zones is one of the ways to juke Jester, right? I'll go pick up my low block. Okay, I'll make it a high. Actually, it's still a low. It's very good, as well as, it's just an extra copy of Wound Restore because you're normally item boxing something that's 5 damage, and I'm down to take the hit. So I don't have 51, I've got 56. So box is very good.
Yeah.
And the last one, here's like the spice. It's just Young Heroes. This card is twofold. Number 1, we're talking about with the Dragon Strike, the lack of onboard answers, and so I want to touch specifically your assets. This is the only card asset hate in my deck, in my entire deck. It's just Young Heroes. And then response, discard a card before your rival's attack receives a damage bonus. Put the damage bonus to 0. It says that when you powerful me, it says that when you falling skies me, it says that whenever I just discard a card. And because I can grab spells with Jester, even if I can't block the Falling Skies, you were going to give it +5/+5. Well, actually, it's +5/+0, and I just discarded the low block that I picked up. And so, this card, again, with Wound Restore, is just, more tricky math to just give me more health that, you weren't really accounting for.
Yeah, the assets in the Wound Restores are, married in a really good sense there, especially, like you were saying with Airy, and then also with Eden Box. You can, more liberally use Eden Box, because, a lot of the times, the dance of this game is this a poke turn or not? And
Correct.
you can more liberally use Iden Box because you have that 20-ish health wiggle room, right?
Yeah.
So
onto the foundations. So the foundations make up the bulk majority of the deck because you don't actually need a ton of attacks to kill. It's 20 attacks and a 73 card list, I think is what I ended on, because you can just tutor the attacks that you want. And the reason that this deck is even playable right now is just Defiant Stance. Defiant Stance says when I use Jester, I didn't commit a foundation. Before Defiant Stance came out, I would have to stun to myself across the turn to steal this momentum. Now I don't. Now I commit no resources to steal it for momentum. So I'm a 51 health, 6 hand size Amajiki that then gets to play infinite number of these cards as long as I can keep my game plan alive. And this is the card that you have to go for. It's only at a 3 of, and it should be at a 4 of, but I felt I was finding it enough to play the game.
Sure. Plus, it's one of those things where, a lot of the times in, when I deck build at the very least, a 4 of is something that I'm down to build multiple copies of and want to see whenever, but Defiant Stance, you really only need the 1 to get your character turned on, and seeing it in a 3 of means you probably see at least 1 of it per match.
The funniest interaction that I've had with this card so far is you can pay for the cost on Vial Seizing. And you could commit it and then re-ready it. And so, in that case of hey, I've got 2 of them, I haven't used them, I checked the 5. Okay, we're good.
We did it.
It's nifty.
It's got some neat tech.
The next one is just Trickster's Blessing. So we could spend 40 minutes talking about this card. It's just 2 high block spell, and that's the level 1 of it. The level 2 of it is you just take your cool 6 checks and you put them at the bottom of your deck because all of these are played on 6s. And the level 3 of it is Toga and Combined Firepower were huge at this event, and so shoving those on the bottom of their deck is messed up. If they have any amount of tutoring, Spirit, I fought against a Spirit Gun Mega deck, and they went Spirit Gun Mega, discard a card, pick up Spirit Gun Mega, and I went, well, I've got Trickster's Blessing, that'll never happen again.
Yes, we must stop this.
Put the 2-deck on the bottom.
It's also very funny against Hawks, where it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I will subtract 2 hand size from you.
Yeah,
over the course of this turn.
This card is, as it's named, it is a tricky card to like know when am I supposed to use this, because there's sometimes where like I was fighting against a Rodan, and I had both of these out, and the check that they made to play their card was a combined, and I was like, well, this is a ready foundation, but this says that you don't have the combined, so it's just more important to have that.
Right.
So this card, like, you have to play 4 of it. It's also just like you pick up the high block.
Yeah.
Up next, sadly, the only deadlock under the life symbol that was relevant in my deck was just Death Maneuvers. This is how you turn these from being 5 damage moves into not 5 damage moves. I lost my games pretty much off the back of not seeing Death Maneuvers. It was the main thing. The deck struggles with damage, and this gets to make up for it, especially if you feel like you can't find 51 and you have to build in a deadlock, then it's just like super free.
And on top of that, it's like you will always, by virtue of playing the steady game, have enough foundations to feed Death Maneuvers on your kill turn, so like it's just trimming the fat of your staging area at that point as well for the cycle if you need it.
Incredible Display is next. This is just board protection and combo protection, right? Like, they have to do everything they can to like get rid of these, and things like D-Sphere, things like Genkai's Guidance, things like whatever. I won't run out of momentum. I'll only run out of the Incredible Displays. And so there's 3 here, and there's 1 on the board, which we'll talk about. But this is about that, followed by the suite of 1 high and 0 low blocks that I have available to me, so I can just block forever. Speaking of blocking forever, we've got just the Speed Hate swath. Cooperation Offer. This was a 3 of, like 2 nights before the event at 72 cards, and I was like whining. I was like, I don't want to go to a 73rd card, and then I like Rodan is just a problem, so I have to have the -3 speed. And the enhance randomly comes in with Storm of Arrows. Didn't happen today, but like if
you're lacking damage, it could be there.
Yeah, so there's -3. Here's another -3. Flip, do it. Bad in some matchups, amazing in another. It's a 1/5. Even if it's flipped for -2 speed, it says that you get to block cool stuff. And then to round out the block zones, we've got high value target. So the coolest part about high value target is actually in one of my hardest matchups, Godzilla. This says if they nuke the board, I didn't go down to 0 foundations.
Yeah.
And so high value is like the most important foundation I can have on the board. And that matchup is like, it's like a 90-10 matchup in their favor. It's crazy how much this is. But this just counts as 2 foundations. It doesn't feel good to cancel or stun or whatever. Like it's just 2. Good on turn 2. A bit of disruption, triple Keiko's aids. This card, the deck wants to live past turn 2. This was my least favorite card of the deck, but it felt like it was a sin to cut it. It's possible that like this was supposed to be something like a Lost in Thought instead of the Keikos, just to have like more board control, because I was forcing people into the late game rather than like trying to survive on turn 2. But there were some games where if I didn't have Keikos, they were gonna hit me down to 15 on 2, which like is difficult no matter if I have the wounds or not.
Yeah.
Onto the 0 diff package, 0/6, 1 high block. That's its job. Its job is to do that. Its job is to get flipped. And then 0/6, 0 low block. Its job is to block. Its job is to build. Its job is to flip. Its job is to go back on the bottom. Onto the tech for the event, we've got Double Surprising Skill. This card probably could have been more of. We could have cut something for it, I guess. This card beats Vast Hybrid. It beats Ice Sword Execution, which I think are the 2 best attacks in the game right now. It says if you commit a thing, I tell you no. And then if you don't commit a thing and you just like randomly stun, I will stun you back. It also is like it's very good versus like reusing your Incredible Displays. Of like, I committed it to pick this thing up, you stunned me, all right, I'll flip and I'll bring my Incredible Display back. It's just really versatile.
Also, the read we had was people like Toga, so like Deception Dagger feels really bad when it doesn't actually do anything.
And Deception Dagger is one of my worst matchups, and we'll get to that in the board. Doing 1 Face Shield, I feel like I had to main board 1 of this card, just because Amajiki was prevalent, just because throws can exist, and I don't want to get randomly gotcha'd. It breaks up combo decks. It's neat, it's cool. It probably didn't need to be on the main board, but it's a fun surprise. Next we've got double Evade and Copy.
Speaking of fun surprises.
Fun surprises, yeah, more hand traps. Rodan is probably the biggest menace in the format right now. It's the deck that like is the pick up and play. It's super easy, and so like having a free block to then pick back up with Incredibles play feels good. And if necessary, you can play this and then flip it with some of the other flip cards, such as big shoutouts to Phil, Birch, and Mitch for Pump Up. This is a card that I had in my sideboard. I had randomly put it in my sideboard as a one low block that randomly did a thing on the life symbol the like 3 days before your guys' event, and then Phil put it in his deck, did the deck profile, and was like, this was the best card in the whole game, or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
and then I was like, wait, I'm playing a life deck that wants to go forever. I'm in.
Literally the day after we got back from Canada, that grind session, I was like, why is Pump Up not in your main board?
Yeah.
Because, and it, not like it was an original thought, but because I think Phil plays a different game than all of us, and
Yeah.
you're playing a similar game with this deck, so
Yeah.
like, that should just be in the main.
This card was great. It was good on offense. It was good on defense. It just beats so many onboard answers of, are they trying to go in? Are they trying to stop my disruption? It just flipped a seal, and I've got so many choices of like things that I'm like, if built, I'm down to flip, right? Like if I built these, it's chill, or I've got multiple defiant stances or whatever. I only need one, so there's that. Next we've got one Vast Strength. I probably should have played more of this, but again, it's a 73 card list as is. It's like the hardest part about the life symbol right now is their cards are too cool, and I just want to play a 90 card list.
Good problems.
Yeah, good problems. And then Macho Concealment for the same idea of onboard answers are really hard on the life symbol, and so just telling them no once per turn feels great. This card's as good as the onboard answers they have. So things like Broken Psyche, draw cards. The best one is like the Ginkais I cancel. I play my loop a little bit, and they go, I want to pick the Ginkais up with Struggling, and you go,
No, you
don't get to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
We
strong.
are damnation believers in this house.
And then the last card, Umeshi's Perseverance. This card was a roller coaster for me because like the level 1 play is I don't need Perseverance because I just pick up my spells, and then Perseverance is a form in case I'm playing 20 attacks in a 70 card list. There's sometimes I just draw all gray. So this says I get to start the string. Or the other idea is this picks up not spells. She only picks spells.
Yeah.
And so like there were some times where I'd be like, oh man, I would really like to have an Evaden copy in my hand. I will go find Evaden copy, and now your mid attack doesn't kill me. This card felt great. It was sided out a lot because it was just a 5th copy of whatever, and I have other things to cover myself in the sideboard.
Yeah, I think at one point in time in like an earlier iteration of this deck, we talked about like command Pigeon Flock being like a 2 of attack because it's
Yeah.
like, hey, fetch these ally foundations, and like it starts your string. It's like the pull on the ripcord to get you going if you need it.
Yeah.
Yada yada. But yeah, like that feels like a solid one of. It's a one of in a couple of our friends lists this weekend just to like get things started.
Yeah.
And it does a really good job of that.
Agreed. Onto the sideboard, we've got just the 4 Spiral Blast. So this card is Arrows at Home. It randomly is +4 health because you play it, you get the momentum, you play it again, and so you're this combined with Wound Restore is a ton. And also, there are ways to remove my kill condition. And so I just need more damage to exist. It's also a pretty solid high block. It's got a solid deadlock of like I'm randomly getting momentum. I'll just scoop attacks in my hand. It's good. It probably could have been something else, or maybe a 3 of and have a tech piece, but I liked the 4. I was very scared of Deception Daggers. I was very scared of Tri-Gravity Beams. Just like getting this card ripped out of my hand is like the worst feeling in the whole wide world, because like I should have tried to block with it. I had to do that so often of like the second attack is coming, I sniff the Tri-Gravity Beam, I will partial block when I have a high block in my hand with Storm of Arrows, so it's not in my hand, so the Tri-Gravity Beam doesn't kill me.
Yeah.
It doesn't rip it.
In the world of D-Spheres, Daggers, and Dragons,
D-Spheres.
we need
The next
we need
Gargoyle
answers.
product.
Yes, we're happy to announce. Yeah.
The same reason, we're just playing double Evaden copy again. Speed is king. That's how
Wolf
you,
will never kill us.
Yeah, we just can't. I don't want to die to Wolf. I don't want to die to focus attack if I can help it. I don't want to die to like, overspeed.
It's also a guaranteed half block on like most things.
True.
If you need it to be.
Yeah. Double Face Shield, again, just like shoring up the throw matchup, really good versus Amajiki. I got a ton of hand traps in the Amajiki matchup, which can be a blessing and a curse. You have to navigate it really well, because like sometimes you're just like stuck with these in your hand. And then the 4th Incredible normally comes in versus other Incredible decks rather than anything else, or if you are really hyper on a zone, like low attack Chaos decks. oh, I'll take off all my highs and put in Incredible Display. My low block's not kind of double.
Yeah, this is struggling with studies at home in that matchup.
Yeah, and then lastly, just the extra pump up. It was honestly in here for the one low block. I didn't normally set it in for the Flip of Foundation just because I had the other one and the Perseverance, but if it was relevant, then it was relevant at the 2 of, and so it felt good, felt fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this deck is tight. This deck is so much fun. It is probably, it's not the best deck in the game, and I know that, but it is the most fun that I have played in this format since I've picked up the cards. I was a little lost until I was like, I'll just do the damn thing.
For sure.
So,
well, fun. In standard Yu-Gi-Oh! Outro tradition, any shout-outs?
Yeah, shout out to Unfun Stuff, shout out to my grind partners, shout out to my great girlfriend who I had to gush about Jester over and over again of just like, I just want to play this over.
Sweetheart, come to bed.
Yeah.
But babe, I can pick up spells.
I can pick up spells. It's so cool.
It's so cool.
And shout out to UVS Games for making, one spelled character and then never printing another spell card ever again, ever. Can't wait for all those spells in Attack on Titan. It's going to be really cool.
All right. Well, thanks you guys so much for watching. Please check out Tam on his channel, and we'll see you guys later.